I'd like to use this design to show how to manage floating viewports in a gCADPlus concept plan. If I leave this one, it's in layout 1, and go to the model, notice that the design concepts are on the left and the plant schedule itself, it's just a block of course, is separated well away from the design and also has text height that is quite large in comparison to the text used over here. So let's come back to layout and see how that's done. If I use a crossing window now across the site like so, notice that it picks up 3 entities, 2 viewports and 1 rectangle. For convenience now, I'm going to hit escape and it's just a rectangular border around it for the purposes of what we want to do here. I'll change. Now I've made the color of the large floating viewport. I've given it a green color and I've made the smaller one just color 254. When we finish, we'll revert those back to color 255, white on a white background, and you won't see them. But for the purposes of what we want to demonstrate now, we'll be able to select viewports relatively easily. If I pick this viewport here and then right click and activate that viewport, can you see we're now sitting well away from the main design over the plant schedule, and we're totaling up the number of instances or number of species that we need. So there's the plant schedule. To get back to the design, we say let's display on the layout. Now at this point you've got a dotted line around the floating viewport and you'd want to remove that. If you move inside the viewport, you'll get an option to deactivate, and that works well. But if, as I'm pretty sure most of you would, you've set the drawing color to 255 and line weight by layer, in other words, setting it so that the frame of the floating viewport does not show, once we do that, it becomes much more difficult to select the viewport. I can click here, I can't click on it, but I do that. And if I come back and now that I know where it is, I can click on it. But in order to tackle this one, we have to hold our shift key down and deactivate that one. And notice each time I'm trying to pick on the border, which is white. So it can be a little tricky. Once it's selected, of course, we can activate it and we're in there and we can adjust it. Let's now display on the layout, and now it sits here in its own floating viewport, but it's still got that dotted line around it. So we go right click, left click on deactivate. So manipulating and managing floating viewports, if you're having any difficulty at all, put a color to the border and then you'll be able to select the viewport easily. But remember, see, I can't pick that one. It's actually sitting behind the main floating viewport. Again, now that I know it's out there, I could use tools and send it to the back. And with a bit of luck, now we might just be able to, if we get near where we know the border is, yes, now we can pick it. So changing the color of the border of the floating viewport will certainly help when you are positioning them, as I was here, to show the plant schedule at reasonable text height on the final print.